Good afternoon, everyone. Let's move towards the next module, that is power and politics. If I ask you a simple question, imagine if at all there is power with you, will it corrupt you, or will it make you to change your decisions? So the obvious answer would be yes. So most this question was asked for many people, and the survey was done for the people who were in power. They said yes, of course it is going to change the way we pursue the things, the way we take a decision, and so on. Now the question comes, why does it happen? Usually what happens here is, the whenever we have this power or authority, the way we pursue and the way we react towards others differs a little. And then somewhere when we experience this power, we are less likely to empathize with others. We feel that what we are saying is right, and we don't understand the perspective of what other people are telling, and the other people's perspective is not taken into account, and simply we get into judging the people's emotions. So that is a little difficult way, or a difficult thing with respect to power. But again, if we get into organization, power and political behavior are the natural process in a group when it comes to an organization. Of course, people say, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But again, what is more important here is, in this module, we will be learning how power works in an organization. You shall be better able to use your knowledge to become an effective manager. So let's begin with the module here. Now, if I want to define a word power, I have written it here. A capacity that Rahul has to influence the behavior of Kiran, so that Kiran acts in accordance with Rahul's wish. So somewhere power is the ability to attract, and look at this image. We attract in such a way that people start changing their behavior according to our wishes. Now if I'm able to do that, then it means that I have a complete power. Now this power can be used in a very effective way when it comes to organization. Now I should have that capacity. Maybe I'm knowledgeable, I'm competent, I am confident enough, I am so well planned and systematic. I have that power wherein my subordinates or my employees will listen to me, will change their behavior according to what I say. Okay, now that is the word power. So in an organization, when we speak of basis of power, there are usually formal power versus the personal power. Now formal power is based on individual's position in an organization. Now this side you can see, this part speaks about an individual's position in an organization. Now under formal power, you have coercive power, reward power, and the legitimate power. Now if I have to define the word personal power, is all about many of the most competent and productive, what you can say, designers at Intel have this power. I repeat the statement. Many of the competent and productive chip designer at Intel have the power. Now that power is called as personal power. Nothing but personal power is all about, we are able to influence an individual characteristics because of my expertise, because of my competencies, because of my ability which no one else have in this world. Now that power is considered as personal power. Now under personal power, you have expert power and the referent power. Now let us understand each power in detail. Now the first power, under the formal power, you can say, so formal power is all about, what did I say, an individual's power, position in an organization give you that power. Now the first type of power, you see that it is called as cohesive power. Cohesive power is all about, it is based, sorry, the power base that is dependent on the fear of negative results. Now look at the word fear of negative results. In the sense, if I don't listen to this man, okay, then I will be thrown out of the organization, or if I don't listen to this man, I may not get any promotions. So people in an organization who have the data or the knowledge that others don't have, and they make others dependent on them. Now that power is called as cohesive power. Now, just an example there. Think that Amit has cohesive power over Akshay. In the sense, Amit can dismiss him, suspend him. He can also remove Akshay, though Akshay is sincere in doing his job. Now, think that Amit assigns work which are very unpleasant to Akshay. Okay, he also treats him in a manner that Akshay feels embarrassing. Why? Because Amit has all the power. Amit has the cohesive power. Now, why do you think Akshay is listening to Amit? Because of fear. Fear of losing the job, fear of getting suspended, fear of no promotions, fear of getting a job which is unpleasant to Akshay. Now, this is what we call it as cohesive power. I hope you're getting it. The next type of power you see here, it's called as reward power. Now, reward power is all about, you see the definition here, compliance achieved based on the ability to distribute rewards that others view as valuable. So, somewhere here, this power is exhibited because you are able to give the rewards to the employees. Now, the rewards can be either financial rewards such as controlling the pay rates, increasing the pays, bonuses, non-financial could be recognition, promotions, interesting work assignments, friendly colleagues, and pursued work shifts, or you can say any of the priorities. Now, this word reward power is opposite to that of cohesive power, because cohesive power speaks about negative. I listen to someone else in the position because he might dismiss me, he might suspend me, he might remove me, he might give an unpleasant job. On the contrary, I listen to somebody because this man will give me recognition, a better promotions, a friendly environment, a friendly colleague, preferred work shifts, isn't it? Now, this is again the reward power. The next type of power under the formal power is called as legitimate power. Of course, the image you can see here, that itself tells you, because of hierarchy, because of position, people will listen to this man. Now, such type of power is called as legitimate power. Let me read the statement for you. The power the person receives as a result of his or her position in a formal hierarchy of an organization. Probably I can say trainee, head, okay, project head, and then the manager. Somewhere this manager has the legitimate power because he is standing first in the hierarchy based on the organization structure of that particular department. Now, such power are called as legitimate power. Now, let me go to the previous slides. We have discussed the formal power. Now, formal power is again, the power is based on the position that an individual has in an organization. Now, cohesive, it's a little negative, because somebody will remove me, because somebody will dismiss me, I listen to that man in the position. That is cohesive. Opposite to cohesive is reward. If I listen to this mind, I will get the better working environment, better shifts, okay, promotions, and of course bonuses, and so on. And third type of power, because the person is in the hierarchy, because the person stands first in the organization structure, I try to give the respect to him, and because of which he executes the power or the authority. Now, that is again legitimate power. So this is all about the formal power. Now, what we'll do is we'll get into the personal power. As I said, personal power is all dependent on the way, one second, it depends on how we are able to execute the job in an organization. Somewhere I am competent, I have certain competencies which none of you have, then I will have that power to influence all of you, isn't it? Now, that is again the personal power. Now, under personal power, if you see, you have the first one, that is the expert power. I think some movie reviews were done on Chak De India, isn't it? And most of us have seen the movie. Of course, initially, somewhere the leader, people were not following him. Somewhere they thought that he has come to divide them, isn't it? But later, what happens? everybody start admiring him. Why? Because he had that skill, he had that knowledge, isn't it? That's how he was able to influence the people. Now such type of power is called as expert power. Okay, so somewhere the power based on the special skills, knowledge, competencies we have, that is called as expert power. Now think that I know something called as data analytics. Now most of you want to execute project, isn't it? So what you do is you start following me, you start feel that yes, she knows data analytics, let me go talk to her, let me follow her, isn't it? Now I am able to influence all of you because of my one specific unique skill called as data analytics, isn't it? Now most of us follow our doctor's advice. Why should we follow doctor's advice? We feel that they are experts, isn't it? Something wrong in the lappy or the computers, what we do? Computer specialist. Paying the tax, we have tax accountants. To know the changes in the economy, economist. Where to invest, not to invest, they'll tell you, isn't it? So somewhere we always prefer to go towards an expert and then try to resolve the issue or set out the issue. Now this is called as expert power, ability to influence people based on the special skills or the knowledge that a person has. Now the next one you can see here, it's called as referent power. Now the movie here, Airlift, isn't it? Now when Ranjit Katiyal was trying to lead the Indians who were uh, trapped in Kuwait, isn't it? Now everybody started following him. Without his notice, people came and sat in his office saying that we trust you and we know that you will take us out from this particular country, isn't it? Now and he was successful. Why? Now this is based on identification with a person who has desirable resources and personality traits. Everybody knew that Ranjit Katiyal had a good networking skill. Ranjit Katiyal was very good when it comes to Indian embassy in Kuwait or talking to the officials who were located in Delhi. Okay, and people also knew that he was a rich businessman and he will give them the required resources. And ultimately all the Indians there in that country knew that this person will help them to achieve the uh, 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 target of getting out of the country, isn't it? Now that is again the referent power. Influence based on identification with a person who has a desirable resources or personal state is called as referent power. Now for example, if I like respect and I admire you, you can exercise power over me because I want to please you, as simple as that. Okay, I repeat the statement. If I like, if I like, respect and admire you a lot, okay, so you can exercise power over me because I will get into pleasing you. Now this is again the referent power. Now why do you think celebrities are paid lakhs together just to endorse a product in a commercial, TV commercial of 2 minutes or 1.5 seconds, isn't it? Why is that Abhishek Bachchan, and why is that Sachin Tendulkar have so much of power to influence your choice of cell phones, your choice of credit cards, your own perfumes? Why are you thinking that celebrities are getting into endorsing the products, and why are you following them and following the product? It's just because the influence that they are doing with the identification, and somewhere we were trying to follow them. This type of power is considered as referent power. Now let me go to this first slide. Now if I ask you, which is the best power anybody can exhibit in an organization? Now yes, if you take a minute of time in understanding which is the best part, and somewhere the research says that the most effective way of executing a power is being an expert power or being an or exhibiting an referent power. You know why? Because this will obviously lead to positivity. Of course this is positive way, this is negative way of threatening people, this is a positive way, and this is because of hierarchy. But this, if you have, you need not have that position or power, people will obviously follow you because they know you have competencies, they know you have certain references, you have certain identification in the country, identification in an organization, so people will obviously follow you. So somewhere we say these are the two best parts that each one of you can exhibit if you have to be successful. Okay, now comes the word power tactics. Power tactics is again defined as ways in which an individual he tries to translate uh, power into specific actions. So whenever we speak about power tactics, it obviously leads to a term called as sexual harassment. We usually say unequal power in the workplace will obviously lead to this, and somewhere whenever there is a power, people try to get into sexual harassment in the workplaces, is what again some thought processes on. Now there is a difference. If men feels it's not a sexual harassment, but for women, the jokes that they make, or asking for a date, or maybe making some stereotyping, sex stereotyping jokes, unwanted jokes, so somewhere we feel that that is again a sexual harassment. So somewhere whenever we come across these power tactics, we say people usually take it in a different way, and that's how it is going to affect the organizational culture. Yeah. Now if we speak about power in action, we call it as politics. Now if you look at the image there, yeah, people fight for power and cut it across, and both use the ladder, but none of them are successful. So if power is used in a wrong way, then none of us would be successful, nor an individual nor an organization. Now that is again power in action, we call it as politics. Now here comes the word, very important word, called as political behavior. Now look at political behavior. Now look at this image, dear office politics. Now he's trying to tell you something. Yeah, my ex boss has been going to other managers and making very nasty and just untrue statements about me. Look at it. Now, this is again the politics that this man is trying to behave. Now, let me look at the definition there. Activities that are not required as a part of person's formal role in the organization, but that influence or attempt to influence that he is trying to make is called as political behavior. His job is what? Just to do his job, isn't it? But what is he trying to do? He is speaking against the boss. To whom? To his colleagues there, to the people sitting next to him, and speaks something about his ex boss, which is not part of his job, but he is trying to get into it because he want to attract people around him. Okay, he want to influence people, he want to give that power in the people. Now whenever we speak about this political behavior, they say politics lies in the eye of the beholder. For me, it may not appear as, whatever he's doing may not appear like a politics. Maybe he's frustrated, he's sharing it, but for the another person this behavior might appear like the politics. So somewhere I'll just quickly get into few examples wherein they say politics is lies in the eyes of the beholder. Now think that I am trying to blame my boss and say, see, there are no proper responsibility given, no proper responsibility fixed. Somewhere fixing responsibility is a problem, is what I feel. That is where that is a problem I have identified. But the other person will say, now you are blaming others, you are not able to work. Now that is again the politicking that he's trying to do, isn't it? Now I get into developing a very good relationship with each one of you, isn't it? As my student fraternity, I want to talk good to you all. I want to understand your perspectives, I want to understand your attitudes, isn't it? Now I call it as developing working relationship in an organization. But the other person feels that I am getting into buttering up, I am getting into kissing up. So these words are called as the political labels. Okay. Now third thing, I am trying to exhibit or demonstrate loyalty, commitment to my boss. What other people will say, she's doing something called as apple polishing, yeah, buttering, yeah, isn't it? Now there is a difference. Now what I do is, I delegate the authority. I somewhere see, this module can be handled by one of the student, why don't that student do it? I am feeling that I'm delegating the authority, isn't it? Now some people might feel that she's passing the buck, political behavior. Okay, I document the decisions. Okay, now some people feel that she's trying to build the document against us, isn't it? Now these are the political works. Now somewhere I am very practical and I say the presentation was should have been better, you know. And I ask 1 2 3 4 5 questions and say, why couldn't you do that way? Okay, and this is not right. If I say that I am getting into understanding and making the things better, I am a little critical, yes, but my intention is what? Getting the things done, improvising the things up. But some other people say that she's cunning, she's very arrogant, she's a perfectionist, isn't it? Now this cunning, perfectionist, arrogant, you're blaming others, you're passing the buck, you're apple polishing, you're buttering. So these are the political words that anybody can use in an organization. So it is up to you how you see that situation. Okay, so somewhere the statement called as politics lies in the eye of an beholder holds very good. Okay, now whenever we speak about political behavior, there could be factors or reasons why an individual behaves that particular way. The first one, if you look at it, is called as the individual factors. Now individual factors may be my needs are not satisfied, okay, and my personality traits are like that. I am always into politicking, in the sense I'm always into playing the politics. And somewhere mine is always internal locus. Okay, if I am an internal locus person, then obviously I get into politics. If I'm a high mac personality, in the sense I manipulate things a lot, if I'm manipulating things a lot, then ultimately I get into politics. Okay, and somewhere this will lead to the political behavior. The first most important factor here is the individual factors. Now the second type of factor you see there is called as organizational factors. Now when an organization's resources decline, the resources change, low trust exists, high performance pressure comes on people, and the opportunity of promotion exists, now this will obviously lead to the political behavior. Somewhere you see here, when organizational resources decline, what happens? We start feeling like nothing is provided in this organization. Yeah, the boss isn't good, the new CEO who's entered is not good, and we start doing the politicking, isn't it? And somewhere I don't trust my boss and I start speaking about him. So low trust will obviously lead to the political behavior. On the contrary, if I say enough resources are there, okay, and it is told in a better way, trust is being well established by my boss, okay, performance pressures are there but clearly defined, enough time given, enough resources given. Okay, now if this is there, then somewhere the political behavior could be decreased. So somewhere whenever we speak about politicking or political behavior in an organization, we say there are two different factors which are going to affect an individual. Now, going on a strike may also be called as a political behavior. So, probably it comes under the organization factors. Now, what happens here is organizations foster politicking when they reduce the resources in order to improve the performances. Now, if I want to sort an example of Air India again, on June 24, 2009, union members representing 24,000 Air Indian employees, what they did, they held a meeting with the Air Indian chairman, come the managing director. I think it was Arvind Jadhav. So what happened there was employees refused any renegotiation of wage agreements that were done with respect to the management. So when the management proposed for the wage cut for the employees, they resisted. They said we are not okay with it, and they wanted to go on the strike. So somewhere when he called for a meeting, the chairman, or you can say managing director, he said because we are into financial crunch and organization is not doing well, that's how we are trying to renegotiate, re-looking at your wages, and your wages will be relooked. But somewhere people were not happy with that. So what they did was they refused the proposal, and somewhere they got into strike, and they say no, you don't give pay, we'll not work, no pay, no policy. Somewhere they got into it. It went upon for 3 4 days. Okay, it was a mark of protest that was happening. Now when you don't have the organizational facilities or what you can say, facilities properly done or drafted, culture properly drafted, then it will obviously lead to all this political behaviors. Now, if I ask you a simple question, what could be an employee's response to the organizational politics? Okay. Now the answer would be decreased job satisfaction. Of course, it increases the stress, increases the anxiety among the employees. Employees would love to quit the organization, isn't it? It decreases the performance. Somewhere employees feel that there is no point in working for the organization. Now, this is what happens when the politics exist in the organization. Now, the question comes, of course, every organization has politics, is what people say, isn't it? Now, if you were into such organization, how would you handle this organizational politics? There are two ways here. One, it is called as defensive action. You can see my slide here. Defensive in the sense I'm very reactive. Okay, I say on face, come on yaar, it's a politics, they're playing politics. This is not suitable, this is not my cup of organization, let me go to some other organization. The second one, protective behaviors to avoid action, blame or change. Somewhere I'm protective, I say let it be, it's the politics, let it happen in their way, but I am going to manage my own self. I'm here to earn my salary, I'll do that, let the politics play it. Okay, so it all depends on the which action you would like to choose, whether you want to be a reactive person or you would like to prefer to be a protective behavior. Now, the one important thing here is impression management. Now, impression management is again the most important thing. Most of us get into it. You can see a lot of faces you can change. See, whenever the politics exist, when you know everything is like that, isn't it? Now ultimately you will have to run your show. So people get into something called as impression management. So impression management is the process by which an individuals attempt to control the impression others form out of them. So somewhere I want you all to create a very good impression about me. So what I do is I try to change my behavior. Okay, I use different techniques with you so that your impression towards me is the best. Okay, now that is again impression management. The first word you can see there, it is called as what is it, techniques include, the first one you can see, conformity. Now conformity is all about whatever you say I said okay, yeah, you're right, you're absolutely right on whatever you're saying. Okay, your presentations were wonderful, your movie reviews were wonderful. I am getting into conformity, in the sense I am trying to give that impression to you all, saying that boss, I'm with you. That is again an impression management. The second one you can see there, excuses. So what we do is we try to give the excuses, because I was not able to do something, but I give some excuse, family issues, yeah, family problems. So I'm again getting into impression management. The third thing is favors. So what we do is we try to give a favor to our boss, try to help a boss wherein he is in need of. Think that the boss needs some data to be analyzed. Okay, some app to be installed. Somewhere I learn that particular knowledge and I try to help him. Now that is again something called as favors. We are trying to give the favors and try to manage our perceptions, or manage our we call it as impressions. Now the next way of doing impressions is apology for every small thing. I'm sorry, I made a mistake on the report, please forgive me, please forgive me. Best way again, apologies also work, so that's again a way of creating that impression. Self promotion, yeah, most of us we get into self promotion. I have done this, my class is going good, my job is going great. So where we are trying to promote ourselves. Flattery again. Now flattery is all about buttering, what we call compliments, going on giving compliments, whatever for everybody you give the compliment. That is nothing but buttering of flattering. That's how you can manage the uh, what you can say, impressions in an organization. Now this is again how people handle organizational politics in an organization. Now it all depends on whether you want to be a defensive person or whether you want to be a person who can do this impression management. Now if you want to get things done in a group or in an organization, it helps you to have the bar. Now as a manager you have to maximize your power, and if you maximize your power, then obviously you can create that dependency among your people. Now how can I maximize my power? I should be competent, I should be knowledgeable, I should be resourceful, I should be having that particular networking wherein I can help my employees around. Now if I'm able to do that, then obviously I can influence them, I can control them, I can have that power. Now some people are significantly more political, than others, meaning they're always, aware of the underlying politics. They know what is happening, and what they do is they can manage the impression. Like this man, he knows something is wrong, something is happening in the organization, cooking in the organization. So this person manages himself very well using the impression management, what we call. Now those who are good at playing politics, they are always expected to have higher performance evaluation, and always increase in the salary happens to them, more promotions happen to them, because they are able to manage the situations in such a way. Now usually what we say, people who play this politics, their job satisfaction level is high, because they're using these techniques. They're not reactive like us. Okay, they are not protective again, they are impression managers. They create that impressions, they use this technique, and somewhat somehow try to manage the people. So somewhere employees who have this poor political skills, what we call, they are, or are unwilling to play the politics in an organization, generally relate perceived organization politics will obviously lead to lower job satisfaction, and somewhere it will increase the turnover rate, or it could increase the furiousness, angerness, anxiety, and so on. That's how they say you should be able to manage the impressions, manage the political behavior that happens in the organization. Now to cover the entire content in a nutshell, we all started with defining the importance of power and the politics and the influence of each other. We defined the word power and the basis for power: personal power because of the organizational hierarchy of the position. Personal power is because of the expertise or the competency that one has. And then we got into power tactics, which obviously lead to some issues in an organization which should not have happened. And whenever power comes into action, that will obviously lead to politics. So anybody who plays politics is called as politiker or politicking. Okay, now this was the political behavior, and then we discussed about factors which influence the political behavior. So if an organization wants to reduce the political behavior in an organization, they'll have to consider these two factors and has to tailor made their organization culture. And then we spoke about how this organization politics can be measured, or you can say responded, one in a defensive way, or you can get into impression management. So usually the research says that, and the experience says that impression management is the best way to handle the political behavior in an organization. But it's not easy for everybody to get into. Us might get into defensive action, end up getting into some other organization which is better for us. Yes guys, this is all about power and politics. Thank you for hearing me out.